All right, guys. So today we're talking about the 1M. Man, seen a couple of these for sale lately. The 1M was made from 2011 to 2012. This is almost dropped my phone. This is E82, and this is a pretty special car. Now, the production on this in the U.S. was 983 units. All right, so worldwide was 6,342 units. So there's a lot more worldwide. Obviously, there's more than just in the U.S. 983, that's a pretty small number for a car from 2011, 2012. Just as a quick guess, maybe there's half to three quarters of those left. Other ones gotten crashed, exported, maybe less. A lot of those get exported now. This was a 6-speed manual car only. So this had a high output N54. This is N54 TO, 3.0 TO, B30 TO. And a lot of people nicknamed the engine the N4. I guess it's slang for that, you know. So you got 35 horsepower more than a 135i, which don't sound like a lot. I think some of that was you could go a lot further on the power with it. The engine's a little bit stronger, a little bit different turbos. And we've been kind of eyeing these things for a while. Like everything else, right now the market's gone up and gone crazy. Right now, the market, what sparked this whole thing, we just saw one go up for sale for 60 grand. But it wasn't that good of one. It was the orange one. It had some weird title stuff going on. It was like maybe it was stolen, maybe it wasn't. Maybe a lot of things, right? Usually that's the way it is on this stuff. And it's one of those cars, it's a lot of money for that car. You have no iDrive stuff. You have not a lot of frills on it, right? We had a 135 on the channel here a while back, and it was a nice car, but it's, a 300 horsepower model N54, just like this. This is 300 horsepower, right? Maybe a little bit over with the 85 tune on it. All that stuff is irrelevant. But this is also a tiny little car. You're saying, but Fatty, 1 Series is a tiny little car, but it's way heavier than this is. This is a real little car being mid-engine. Here's where I'm at with this car, right? They start about, for a really bad 150, they go up to about 100 grand. 100 grand's like no miles, top of the line. Nobody's been molesting on it. It's like been taken care of, one owner. That's 90 to 100 grand. And these cars are in the 20s. So as far as a track car, one of these cars would just be 100 times better in every way, shape, or form. But it's not a 1M, right? There's only so many made, like we were just talking about. That car is always going to be worth money. Will it be as popular right now as the M1, the old M1? I think the only problem is in 54, you guys know all the issues those could have, and especially low mileage sitting around. These cars only made 2011, 2012. So in 2016, they got replaced by the M2. So there was no production for 2013, 2014, or 2015, and then they came out with the M2, just to be clear on that. They made quite a few of the M2s. Is that going to kill the 1M value eventually? I really don't think so. The 1M is a very small car. You get wide fenders, different wheels, pretty much a whole different body. It's like every other M car. It looks similar to like a 135, but the whole car is slightly different, right? You have different brakes, just the steering wheel, the cluster, everything is going to be slightly different. It'll say M on it. We've seen that with M cars they had in the past. There is a tremendous amount of differences. Unfortunately, when you go to buy something for it, everything's different. And on a limited production car, as we've seen here in the past, that gives you $1,300 brakes, that gives you $1,400 struts, and bizarre stuff like that. So would I buy one of these for a daily driver? We don't really daily drive anything here. We have so many cars, we don't daily drive one car. And it's not like I'm going places every day. But could you daily drive this? You could. You could daily drive a G-Wagon if you got enough gas money, I guess. But is it a good idea? No, it's absolutely not a good idea. You're going to eventually have, sooner than later, have some issues. And so let's say if you bought one of these cars with 30,000 miles, 30 or 40,000 miles. So it's been sitting quite a bit to be a 2011, 2012 with that many miles on it. You go out and start driving it, running it hard, it's going to have problems. It will have problems. You're back to that stupid plastic face water pump. You're back to the plastic valve cover. You're back to injector problems. You're back to turbo issues. I don't know. I could never find an answer if they alleviated the wastegate problem on 2011, 2012 N4 or N54 B30TO engine. That was unclear. There's so little information out because so few people have these. There was nothing that was clear at all on any of that stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I seriously considered this several times. I guess like anything else, if one came up cheap enough, maybe. But is it a car that I desire to drive? No, it is not. You know, when we bought the M3, that was not a car, the E36 M3, that was not a car I desired to drive at all. Those cars are kind of bare bones cars. The E60 M5, I liked driving that car at first. That quickly morphed into the transmission shifts slow. It was so loud it wasn't practical. It wasn't really a car that caught attention like the G-Wagon or like the Porsches do. None of the BMWs are really those kind of cars that catch attention. There's going to be a few guys that recognize that from a mile away, what it is. But let's be honest here. If you took the emblem off the 1M car in the back, who's going to be able to pick that apart from a 135 or a 128 or a 120i? Maybe 1% of people's going to know that. If there was a 1M drove by me tomorrow, if I wasn't closely paying attention to see the wide fenders, even if I did see the wide fenders, you would think somebody put the 1M kit on it, on a regular model. So there is that. There's not a unique sound to it. There's not a unique anything to it other than having 4 pipes and wide fenders. So it puts it in a weird category for me. It's just not that desirable. A lot of you guys say, oh, if you just drove one. I drove a lot of stuff, guys. A lot of cars. It's way faster, way better than that. I just don't desire that. As an investment standpoint, would I buy one for cheap, fix whatever's wrong with it, and keep it here? Yeah, if we have more room, I think it's only going to go up from this standpoint. Not to drive any more price up on the market, but if you guys see one for a good price and it's obtainable, it's for sure a good deal. You know, there's a lot of cars like that now is a problem that I don't think are going to dip in price at all. Maybe we'll do some more videos about those in the future. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos about cars that I know are going up in price. The issue with that is enough people watch this video. If only a few thousand watch this video, and there's 1,000 people that drives them to Facebook looking for cars to buy, when we try to buy stuff, it's hard to buy stuff. You know, the Porsche market, as you've seen, has just gone insane. Once I started putting stuff out about bore scoring, and now on the 911 about that, I just feel like it just made it more difficult for us to buy stuff to make videos on, to be totally honest with you. But, you know, I understand that. Like I said, we do have a new car coming in. It should be in probably next week, maybe even later on this week. We're going to have some new videos on a new car we've never done before. New chassis, new engine, new everything. So we're real excited about that. We still have to build our E46. We're going to have to get on that just immediately. And we still got to do engine swap, put the interior back together. We got to find some wheels and tires for that thing. It has to go to the paint shop, get a few paint scuffs and scratches done. No rust on it. Has a little bit of clear coat problem. And that's it. So my final conclusion on the 1M, should you go buy one? Absolutely. If you find a good deal, whether you like it or not. Go pick it up. If you have the means to hold on to it for a year or two, I think it's only going to make you money at this point. But don't go try to daily drive it. And as we just proved in the past, be careful of anybody out there. The poor G-Wagon's still sitting here crashed. If you're a careful driver, that does not mean everybody else is. Does not mean anybody else has insurance or driver's license, apparently. And apparently you don't even get in trouble for that anymore. So be careful, all you guys, all the viewers, driving in your BMWs or anything. Drive offensively. That's it. We'll see you very soon. Have a good day.